Welcome to the second episode of the Statline Pod. How's it going, Atlas?
It's going good so far. How about you, man?
Dude, preseason football has started. The Hall of Fame ceremony happened. Brody just retired, got me in my feels. Yeah, it's been an eventful week in the world of sports. We got to start with the Hall of Fame ceremony that happened last week, though. I just want to give a little personal touch for me. There's two legends, and one specifically that had a big impact on me as a sports fan, and that's Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly is a Hall of Famer. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's a damn shame that he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer last year, but it's okay. He got in this year. He got his flowers, and wow, Luke Kuechly as a Panthers fan for I started being a Panthers fan in 2013. That's when I actually started watching Panthers football like week after week after week. Before then, I was just a casual fan and whatnot. And part of the reason why I fell in love with football was the menace that was Luke Kuechly on the defensive
That
side of the
number
football.
59 in the
Oh
middle
my God,
linebacker spot, dude,
he
absolute
I
stud.
I remember watching that Saints game in December of 2013 with the NFC South title on the line in pouring rain at Bank of America Stadium, and Luke Kuechly had 24 tackles that game. He was all over the field. And look, as much I love Cam Newton more than anyone else that I know. With that being said, Luke Kuechly is the by far and away the greatest Panther of all time, and it was just so surreal to see Luke Kuechly become a Hall of Famer, and as well as Drew Brees, by the way, because Drew Brees was
Yes, sir.
he was in the NFC South. Luke Kuechly played Drew Brees all the time throughout their career, twice a year. I remember, every time we went up against the Saints in 2017, for example, we were 11-5 that year. Three of our losses were to the Saints, or two of our regular season losses, and our first loss in the wild card round, all to the Saints. All because that man, Drew Brees, he was just fantastic. And it was just, obviously, shout out Roger Craig and Larry Fitzgerald and Adam Vinatieri, the comedian
I was about
himself.
to say, man, Larry Fitzgerald, you gotta touch on him a little bit because he was just Mr. Consistent every year in Arizona. Like they had some off years, they had some great years, made it to the Super Bowl, but was never able to get it done, with the team success. But individually, he was just an amazing player. He barely ever dropped the ball. It felt like I never saw him drop the ball like his whole career, and seeing him get that gold jacket was really exciting. But yeah, we can go back to Drew Brees, man. He was absolutely a stud too in that
One thing
NFC
about Larry
South.
Fitzgerald, I just want to mention about Larry Legend, not Larry Bird, but Larry Fitzgerald. Before we go to Drew Brees, is Larry Fitzgerald, in my opinion, has the greatest forgotten play in sports history, which is that touchdown that he had against the Steelers in the Super Bowl. It was like a minute 69
Overshadowed.
left or a minute 49 left, and Kurt Warner down the middle to Larry Fitzgerald. And the acceleration he had on that play at the Super Bowl stage to do that. The entire playoff run, Larry Fitzgerald was crazy in that entire playoff run, but to cap it off in that Super Bowl, if the Cardinals win, if Ben Roethlisberger doesn't throw that pass to Santonio Holmes in the corner in the end zone, we would be talking about that play as one of the greatest plays in NFL history. We just don't talk about it because the Cardinals ended up losing. But shout out Fitzy as well for sure.
One of the best Madden covers, by the way, that Madden 10, man, with
Oh yeah,
Troy Polamalu, Larry
and
Fitzgerald on
Fitzgerald,
the
yeah.
cover. Wow, that just brings back nostalgia for sure. But yeah, Drew Brees, man, like he was Mr. Consistent as well. He shaped the whole NFL, like him, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, that whole era
And
of
one more
quarterbacks.
thing about Drew Brees, like yeah, you mentioned that era. The worst thing about Drew Brees, and this is just in all sports, right? Like sports the margin of error is just so tiny in sports, and that tiniest margin of error can kind of like completely change legacy conversations in sports. And Drew Brees was one of the unluckiest quarterbacks ever in the latter half of his career. Because if you remember the Saints in that 2017, 18, 19 years, in 2017, the Minneapolis Miracle happens against Drew Brees, right? I think the Saints could have won the Super Bowl that
Oh
year.
yeah,
The
for sure.
the very following year, the debacle in New Orleans with the pass interference call that wasn't called against the Rams. Like we all remember that.
Yeah.
And the Saints could have won the Super Bowl that year. Patriots beat the Rams 13-3 that year. The Saints could have easily beaten the Patriots that year in the Super Bowl. And then those two are pretty famous. The one that people forget is the very year after that, it was an overtime game where Kirk Cousins threw a game-winning touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph in the playoffs in overtime to beat Drew Brees. So back to back heartbreaking, just like gut-wrenching playoff losses for Drew Brees. And one more against the Buccaneers in 2020 in his last game ever in the wild card, or I think it was the divisional round. Tom Brady against Drew Brees at home.
Yeah, that was
Jared Verse fumbles the ball at midfield. The Saints were controlling the entire game up until that point. Once Jared Verse fumbled, the entire script flipped to Tom Brady, and now Drew Brees. If one of those
not
games goes,
Jared Verse, not Jared Verse.
who was it?
Who are you thinking of? Because
Sorry, it wasn't Jared Verse. It was the tight end. You're right. Jared Verse is the defensive end on the
the Rams,
Browns.
the
Or,
Browns. The NFL is
but
so fast,
I
bro.
forget who
But
the tight end one. Tight end was at the time, but it was the tight end on the Saints.
Jared
Um,
Cook, right?
Jared Cook. Jared Cook. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that was right.
Jared Cook, who fumbled the ball at midfield, and all of these memories are just coming back as we're talking about Drew Brees, like how unlucky he is, and I mean that is 4 years. This is 2017, 18, 19, and 2020. I just gave you 4 games that were just like rip apart. Like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. If one of those games goes Drew Brees' way, and Drew Brees has 2 Super Bowls, he is a surefire top 5, maybe top 3 quarterback of all time, and he's still going to be remembered as a top 10 QB of all time, but just to provide a little bit more context on the greatness of Drew Brees and how well he should be respected.
But that's the way the NFL goes. Like if
Of
Sean
course.
Payton wouldn't have caught an onside kick, maybe he wouldn't have a single Super Bowl. So like
No, no,
you
100%.
gotta give him props for having the one, and obviously he could have had more, but it's never a guarantee in the league.
For
But
sure. I
let's
mean,
move
if you
to
look at Brady and Mahomes, right? The two
yeah.
games that Brady and Mahomes played in the playoffs, the AFC Championship game in 2018, if D4 doesn't dump offsides, Mahomes is probably going to win that game. He's probably going to win that Super Bowl against the Rams that year. And the Super Bowl in 2020 or the 2021, the 2020 season, but 2021 Super Bowl, if Mahomes wins that one, that's Brady now has 5 Super Bowls. Mahomes has 5 Super Bowls. At that point, Mahomes is a GOAT, right? Like
Yeah, maybe.
that's how easy like these sports narratives flip. And I agree. This is all about this is what sports comes down to. And yes, you're right. If Sean Payton doesn't go for that onside, and Peyton Manning wins that Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning now has 3 Super Bowls, like the entire conversation, it's just so cool to
It's
think
just
about.
a butterfly effect. Like every year,
Yeah,
you never know what things are going to fold into later down the line. Trades happen because success wasn't had years prior. We saw it in the NBA. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, they made it to the finals. If they would have won that series, we would never be talking about Luka and LA and AD and all this other stuff. But obviously now that did happen, so it's a whole ripple effect in the NBA. Now the whole landscape's different. We got
for
Giannis in
sure.
Miami, so
I
it's
mean,
going crazy.
if Kevin Durant's foot was slightly shorter, we'd be talking about Kevin Durant as a top 5 player of all time right now because that game-winning shot
In
in Game
Brooklyn.
7 would have been a game-winning shot rather than a game-tying shot, and the Nets would have won the title that year. The Nets would have for sure won the title that year.
Oh
Kyrie
yeah,
was hurt that series. Harden was hurt that series. Harden still played, but I mean, that's sports.
crazy, crazy stuff. Let's keep it on the NBA for 1 second because, dude, one of the biggest guys of our childhood. We
For
watched
sure.
the NBA our whole lives so far, and Russell Westbrook, the guy from OKC, Mr. Triple Double himself, 2017 MVP, just called it quits on his own terms, just averaged about 15, 16 a game with the Kings, had opportunities to play this year, but decided to hang it up. What are your thoughts?
Russell Westbrook is should be remembered as a pure hooper. He he was one of the few players in the era of load management that said F that. I'm going to give it my everything if I'm out in the court. I mean, remember, in Russell Westbrook's peak at his prime, this was the time when LeBron James was taking off, back to backs, the second night of a back to back. Kawhi Leonard was taking off the second nights of back to back. All the superstars were doing that. It was the era of load management. It was the era of getting, maximizing your playoff minutes while, minimizing your regular season load. Russell Westbrook, whether it was, game 3 against Utah Jazz in the middle of November or the playoffs, you could never tell what type of game it was if you just watch Russell Westbrook. The amount of energy that Russell Westbrook played with, play in, play out, game in, game out, he is one of the greatest energy guys you can ever have. And this is one thing I think a lot of like pundits, I would say, failed to recognize during Russell Westbrook's MVP years. Russell Westbrook is one of the most criticized superstars, criticized MVPs
Always hated.
ever, right? I remember, like, back in 2017, I was a bigger NBA fan back then than the NFL. I think now I'm a bigger NFL fan, but like my first love of sports has always been basketball, the NBA. And I remember in 2017, we were in high school together. The MVP conversation was James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and there was a faction of the population that wanted LeBron to win the MVP that year. And oh my God, Russell Westbrook would get destroyed for his efficiency numbers. But what people failed to realize was he took all the bad shots in OKC. No one else was taking the bad shots, right? Russell
Took
Westbrook gave
everything.
everyone the good shots.
I
He
mean,
took the bad
that
shots.
was the only guy on that roster. I mean, Kevin Durant left. Like that team was barely supposed to be a playoff
Victor
team.
Oladipo.
It was only going to be Westbrook that was going to carry them. And like you said, he took the bad shots, took the good shots. But hey, he had an average of triple double, and he damn sure deserved that MVP. So I'm glad that he got
For
one.
sure. And people like kind of want to brush aside the triple double year because Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double for 3 straight seasons, but I think people have forgotten what a crazy idea it was to average a triple double for the year before Russell Westbrook actually did it. Like I lived in the NBA in 2013, 2014, 2012, 2016 before Russell Westbrook actually averaged that triple double. The idea that an NBA player for the duration of an 82 game season can average a triple double was it was
Yeah,
unfathomable until
Oscar
Westbrook did it
Robertson. I
3
was
years in a
there.
row.
Oscar
But Oscar
Robertson.
Robertson was, back in the 60s.
The
He did it in
plumbers, the real
1962.
plumbers and janitors, yeah. I mean, no one was expecting Russ Westbrook to do it. And even at the beginning of that season, I remember people saying, okay, he's got like 2 in a row, 3 in a row, but he's not going to do this for a whole season. He's not going to be able to average a triple double. And he definitely did. So definitely one of the better careers in NBA history.
Yes.
It'll be
Should be
exciting to
celebrated
see
first
him
ballot
as
Hall
a
of
Hall of
Famer.
Famer. And, screw Kevin Durant for leaving that team because he should have a ring in OKC. But here we are.
I mean, look, in my lifetime, if we're talking about who are the all-time great point guards, right? Obviously, Steph Curry is going to be number 1. And Russell Westbrook, he could be number 2. I like Chris Paul's going to be
I'll
up
still
there.
say Magic Johnson,
Kyrie. No,
but
I'm saying in our lifetime. Obviously, not like
our
I'm not
lifetime.
saying
But
all time. Like the players that we grew up watching, right? In terms of the players that we grew up watching and fell in love with the game of basketball, number 1, Steph, obviously, right? He's the greatest point guard of our lifetime. And number 2 might be Russell Westbrook. I mean, who are the contenders? Kyrie Irving,
I
Chris
think
Paul,
longevity, you'd have to put Chris Paul, but peak wise, you definitely would put Russell Westbrook as the number
Derrick
one
Rose,
comparison
maybe if
there.
you take like one
Yeah,
season peak
I was
or
gonna
like
say
2 season
Derrick
peak.
Rose, nostalgia, and then
Kemba
yeah,
Walker,
yeah. I mean James Harden, if you call him a point guard, had some great years, obviously, but I would still take Russell Westbrook in his
SGA. No, I'm kidding.
SGA, Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, oh dude, come on now.
I mean,
Kyle Lowry got it on
we can
him.
include let me see, yeah, like Darren Williams. Those guys are not, yeah. Russell Westbrook,
Isaiah Thomas in 2017, John Wall.
yeah, John
I
Wall,
mean, none of these guys are Russell Westbrook level. The only guys that are Westbrook level, Steph is above Westbrook, and then I think honestly Russell. I think it's Chris.
Damian Lillard's like right
Dame.
there,
Yes,
like a
you're right.
little
Dame.
bit below, I'd say, but
Russ is better than Dame because Russ has that MVP. But I mean, I think career-wise, you got to put Chris Paul second, Russell Westbrook third. But a lot of, I mean, Chris Paul's prime years
I
in New
don't know,
Orleans.
man. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
I
I
don't
would
know. I
still
don't know.
put
I'm
Russell
thinking.
Westbrook over Chris Paul, like
Yeah, I
legacy
think I'll take
wise.
Russell
I
Westbrook
mean,
over. I mean,
neither has a ring. I mean, give it to Westbrook, honestly.
that's a tough one. I mean, Chris Paul's made it to the finals with Devin Booker, obviously. Russell Westbrook's made it to the finals with KD and Harden.
With the young pup, but he was
The
still
young
carrying that team with KD. So
and people forget one more thing about Russell Westbrook. People forget while Kevin Durant was on that squad, Russell Westbrook was looked at as the dog of the squad. Now,
oh
everyone
yeah,
understood Kevin Durant is the better player. I'm not trying to say that at all. But like I remember against Memphis in 2013 when Russell Westbrook is out, people started writing off the Thunder against the Marc Gasol Memphis Grizzlies back in 2013 because the impact of Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook was actually the best player on the Thunder when they came back and beat the Clippers in 2014. Um, I'm just going through memory lane here, and wow, what a career for Brody, man! What a career! Even when he got traded to the Wizards and still averaged a triple double, insane, just insane.
Yeah, like I said, even with the Kings last year, he was a great player, like one of their
Against the
better.
Nuggets 2 years ago,
Yep.
or not
And
against, like for the Nuggets two
even
years
for the
ago.
Clippers, his only bad spot was the Lakers, and it just didn't work. They didn't have any shooters on that team,
That
so
LeBron PR got to him.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But
seriously,
great career. Salute to the Brody, number 0, always going to be in the rafters for the Thunder at least, and he may, obviously will be in the Hall of Fame in a couple of years. So excited for that time.
legends for sure. Let's move on to the NFL current day. I know we talked about some legends, and one more thing about the legends. We touched on Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, and Luke Kuechly, but shout out to Roger Craig and Adam Vinatieri as well. Vinatieri, greatest kicker ever. The speech was an all-time speech when he said, "Pat McAfee, the guy who likes holding, the only guy in the world who likes holding my balls more than my wife." Like, what a
That was
goated
hilarious.
speech.
Yeah. Gold jacket commentary right there. But yeah, some great guys going into the Hall of Fame. And if we look at who's playing this current year, I think the biggest headline this offseason, a lot of people talking about Aaron Donald, maybe teaming up with Miles Garrett back with the Rams. But the biggest news, everybody, all the media outlets are talking about it. The Panthers picked up Darren Waller. What are your thoughts on this pickup? New tight end for Bryce Young. Do you think he'll actually make a difference for this roster?
Yeah. So I don't know about the difference for the roster, but as a Panthers fan, I mean, you were there. We watched that game together, the Dolphins against the Panthers last year, when Darren Waller absolutely torched us. He absolutely torched us. Like, and we threw all the different types of coverages at him, and we just could not stop that guy. And for us, we have Tommy Tremble. Tommy Tremble gets, I don't know, 20 catches a season, right? Like it's just different. Darren Waller you outperformed Tommy Tremble, and Tommy Tremble played double the games that Darren Waller did last year. So I like the signing, but obviously Waller is in the end of his career. No one wanted him. He was still on the free market and until mid-August. So how much impact can a player really have that was signed in mid-August in the middle of training camp? But I still like the signing. I think it'll help out Bryce Young and give another security blanket to Bryce Young.
Yes, sir. I think it'll be a good option. Hopefully, he makes the 53-man roster. I think he will because there's space in the tight end room. How good is Jatavion Sanders going to do? He's still an up and coming prospect, but there's really not been a huge amount of production there. And then, as you said, Tommy Tremble not going to catch the most amount of passes. So just having a guy that you can trust out there, get him in the red zone, get some easy touchdowns outside with. Tedero McMillan and all the other guys out there in Carolina. Jimmy Horn, I've heard he's had a really good camp as well. So I'm excited for the Panthers this season. We'll see how they do. The NFC South is obviously for the taking yet again. So hopefully, for your sake, they'll be able to win it.
For sure. I mean, I like the Panthers' chances this year. I'm not even gonna lie. Like as a Panthers fan, last year I came in optimistic as well. I really like the way Bryce Young finished his season 2 years ago against Atlanta. Obviously the way Bryce Young finished the season last year against the Rams. My goodness, I legitimately thought we had it in the bag. When Bryce Young, put up that floater and Jalen Coker brought it down, I thought, oh my God, the Panthers are actually about to
That was
win.
so clutch, by
And
the
then
way.
Matt Stafford fucking drove down the field and scored that touchdown. And we still had 30 seconds left. Ice Bryce was getting the ball back, and I thought, oh, we still got it. We still got it, but we didn't. We didn't have it. But with that being said, the way we finished the season last year, I was so impressed with the Panthers and what they did against the Rams. I mean, the Rams are a top tier squad, and
They're the
it,
team
it,
to
it
beat. They're the Super Bowl contender of the year, I think, this
for
year with
sure
their new additions as well. So
with Miles Garrett for
definitely,
sure.
yeah, and insane that the Panthers were even able to hold up to them, like not being anything disrespectful to the Panthers, but the Rams were projected to make it out of the NFC this past season, and the Panthers definitely had them on the ropes. I certainly wish they would have beaten them, but
And the
maybe next year.
resiliency the Panthers had in that game. I mean, if you remember, the Panthers went down like they had like three and outs in a row. The Rams were up 14-0, and I remember this. We were facing a 3rd and 10, down 14-0. in the middle of the second quarter, and we ended up, being in the lead and in with 2.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. So great resiliency shown by a young quarterback and Bryce Young.
Young coach
I'm
as well, Dave Canales. That's
Dave
some good coaching
Canales.
experience for him.
For sure. Dave Canales is taking his duties off of play calling. Brad Idzik, our offensive coordinator, is going to be doing the play calling duties, but Dave Canales, still offensive minded head coach. He resurrected Geno Smith's career in Seattle, resurrected Baker's career in Tampa, and he has Bryce Young playing a lot better than how Bryce Young was playing under Frank Reich. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a good year. I think for the Panthers, I like Tedero McMillan this year. I think he'll only get better, and obviously Jonathan Brooks is a little bit more healthy this offseason, so hopefully he'll be able to play this year. No Rico Dowdle, but Chuba Hubbard's still there. I like the rushing attack. I think as long as the O line kind of holds up, their defense has improved with Devin Lloyd and obviously the
Also,
defensive
one more
end.
thing about Chuba Hubbard. This literally happened like about an hour ago, but Chuba Hubbard apparently is going to be out for the first like 6 weeks of the season or something
Oh,
with a
really?
hamstring injury.
Oh, I
Yeah,
heard that he had a little bit of issues, but I didn't know it was going to be
yeah.
long
So,
term like that. Yeah, so
uh,
maybe Jonathan
Jonathan
Brooks.
Brooks season. It's time. Let's see what you got. Big Texas guy. Jonathan Brooks replaced Bijan Robinson in Texas. He was supposed to come in to Carolina last year or 2 years ago at this point, I think.
Yeah, two
And
years.
yeah, and show out, but he hasn't played a single snap yet. And I'm excited to see what Jonathan Brooks is up to. His fantasy value skyrocketed after Chuba Hubbard's injury. So yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. You got to wait till Labor Day to draft, and that's why we're doing it like
Oh
that
yeah.
because
If
you
you're in a
never know
serious
what's going
league,
to happen. Yeah,
for everyone out there, for your hometown league, like the league that you care about with your mates, you gotta draft on the Labor Day weekend. Like, and this year, like if we're planning on drafting the Sunday before Labor Day. Remember, football starts on Wednesday. That's like the best time to draft. Like,
peak.
honestly, Labor Day like itself might be the best day, but at least that weekend, you have to make it till that weekend to draft.
Yeah, I think if you do it any earlier than that, you're risking injury and you're risking obviously your team to get screwed. Obviously, that could happen week one, and that may happen to some teams, but it will happen to some teams. But
Yeah.
obviously,
At a
then you just have
minimum,
to
it
play
has to
it
be
safe.
after the last preseason game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm drafting my other league, I think a week before, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
But obviously, you gotta set the last weekend for whichever league that you're most closely watching. So
And the other thing about yes, obviously the injury risk in the preseason, but the other thing is the depth chart as well. We don't know much about the depth chart until later in the preseason, right? Like obviously teams are coming out and saying, "Oh, Kyler's going to be the starter in Minnesota." There's a QB battle in Cleveland between Deshaun Watson and Shador Sanders. We don't know who's going to win that QB battle. What by Labor Day weekend are we going to know? Probably, right?
yeah,
So it's
and
these
that just a trigger effect for like Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins, and
yeah,
a
of
number of
course.
other
I
players for
don't
that
want no
too.
receiver that Shador Sanders is throwing the ball to. Now, do I want them if Deshaun Watson's throwing? I don't know either, but I
Hey,
don't think.
if you're a Steve Smith fan, just don't go for Jerry Judy. I know he hates that guy. He's just a guy. So maybe
uh,
Casey Concepcion from NC State, well, Texas A&M most recently, but I think he could be a good option there for Cleveland. But overall, that's not really a notable NFL headline as much. But in that same division, we got Aaron Rodgers playing his likely last season. How do you think that the Steelers are going to do? They got Rico Dowdle. They also got Michael Pittman on their offense, so they're giving him a few more weapons. Kenneth
we got
Gainwell's
Mike
back in
McCarthy.
Tampa, but yeah, Mike McCarthy. That's the reason why Aaron Rodgers is back apparently. So he had to tell his wife, I'm playing one more season, so
Wife.
you got to miss me for one more year, and then I'll meet you in the woods.
Okay, I have a really hot take. I mean, look, I was a big Aaron Rodgers guy last year. Even on this pod, I was an Aaron Rodgers glazer, as some people called it. But the glaze is it's gonna be present this year as well. I mean, like, what is there not to like about Pittsburgh? They Look, the defense was kind of atrocious last year towards the end of the season. That offense, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was atrocious against Houston. Like, let's put that Houston game aside. But I Aaron Rodgers he is also one of those unique cases at the quarterback position. We talked about Drew Brees earlier. Talk about how unlucky Kevin Durant was in his career in this podcast before. Aaron Rodgers is another one of those guys that just has so many unlucky things that happen that have gone his way, right? We talk about the onside kick in Seattle in 2014, the Eli Manning Hail Mary to Mario Manningham and in the divisional round of the playoffs in 2011. Obviously, Mike McCarthy not going for two against Arizona after Aaron Rodgers completes back-to-back Hail Marys. Then you have the game against Tampa when Kevin King, I think, was the defensive back that just
Yeah,
got absolutely torched all game
huge.
long by Tom Brady. Then you have that snow game against San Francisco when, a snow game against a West Coast team at home. There's a play in the middle of the second quarter where Aaron Jones has, full green light to go score the touchdown. And for some reason, Aaron Jones cuts in and they lose that game off a punt block, special teams gaff. Like, Aaron Rodgers is just an unlucky guy when it comes to his footballing career. And part of the reason why I was Aaron Rodgers Glazer last year was because I remember watching game after game for the Jets, and once again, very unlucky. Aaron Rodgers was not the problem in New York. Last year in Pittsburgh, it was a little bit different. Aaron Rodgers had the ball a couple times when he could have won it, and he just couldn't deliver in game-winning moments. Other times he did, and whatnot. But I like, there was nothing in Aaron Rodgers' game that said he can't throw the football anymore. He can still spin that football. I mean, against Cincinnati, if you remember that game on in
Yes,
the Unk
sir.
Bowl against Joe Burrow, uh, in that end of the game, he threw a
Flacco,
70-yard
Flacco.
heave. Oh, sorry, not Burrow, Joe Flacco. In Cincinnati, though. But in that Unk Bowl, he threw a 70-yard heave at the end of the game last year, and according to Next Gen Stats, that was that had the most air yards of any throw in all of last year, and it was thrown by 42-year-old Unk Rodgers, right? So Aaron Rodgers' arm, he still got it. It's his feet that he doesn't have anymore, but he's one of the few quarterbacks remaining that knows everything about what's in here rather than his mechanics. I mean, we saw Philip Rivers take off for 5 years, come back, and like basically put his guys in the right position and still almost win a game against the Seahawks, who ended up winning the Super Bowl last year in Seattle, right? So what's in here, no one can outdo what Aaron Rodgers can do pre-snap. It's the post-snap running ability that Aaron Rodgers no longer has, but I still like Aaron Rodgers to
I,
at
I
least
love I love Aaron
like make
Rodgers,
the
man.
wild card.
Yeah, I like that pick, but like you said, his mobility is the concern. You talked about the Steelers game in the playoff. He looked very scared out there, and I mean that's just because he can't move around. Like he was getting sacked,
I mean,
and I think
Will
I mean
Anderson and Danielle
Will
Hunter, them
Anderson,
boys were
Daniil
coming.
Hunter, yeah, Houston is crazy. But like I said, you've got in the Rams, you've got two elite like defensive rushers. If Aaron Donald comes back, even if he doesn't come back, you got Miles Garrett. You've got so many good teams, Max Crosby. You've got so many good edge rushers, so many good defensive tackles. Those tackles they just paid in Philadelphia, obviously elite. Like, how are you going to be able to stay alive out there? Like in the playoffs, you're going to get killed. They're going to go all out blitz. I get that he'll have a good season, and this is his final season. I think he'll, have better statistic wise and during the regular season. Obviously, had a good season last year, but there's only so much you can do. Like you said, the mobility is a question. His mind is still there. He's throwing dots all the time. His arm is still there, but there's no way that he can win a Super Bowl this year. And I mean, I don't think that's controversial at all to say, but I think that he'll obviously have a great season, and I hope he does end it on the right note, which is at least a playoff or a positive record with Mike McCarthy.
For sure. I mean, we talking all this football, man. I cannot wait for football to come back. Oh my god.
Dude, we're
Oh,
close, man. We're close. I think
I need it
what
back.
3 weeks? 3 weeks from the podcast right now. It's
Yeah,
just
I mean, right
the
now
midseason.
we're recording this on August 13th. Nah, we still got a full month.
Yeah. Wait, no, it's the
September
ninth.
13th, I think, is when
I
when
think
football
I
starts.
think it's the ninth. It's like that Wednesday, the ninth, because
Oh,
this
actually, you're
the
right. It is the ninth. Yes, yes, you're right.
yeah,
It's the ninth.
but
Yeah,
like the main games will be on the 13th, but
yeah. But I mean,
we'll
shit,
have
I don't care
real
about the main games. Just give me one. Like, I am jonesing for a Titans Jets Thursday night football 6-3 matchup right now. My ass would be on the couch with my FanDuel parlays going on, watching if Jets can get a field goal up and running. Like, that is how much I'm fiending for some real football.
You think Gino is going to write back this year?
Is Gino's gonna write back? Oh, didn't
I
Gino
don't
get
think so.
arrested or some shit?
Oh yeah, no, no, he had like some robbery or something like situation, or like I don't even know what happened. I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but I know that like there was a situation going on. I do know that Terry Arnold may like go on the exempt list. He just signed with the Seattle Seahawks,
Yeah,
but will
yeah.
he even play is the question. But there's some crazy stuff going on. I try to stay away from the NFL, legal issues. I only watch the NFL for the athletics and team sport
Athletics.
aspect. But yeah, the players, can't comment on their personal lives. So just gotta
No,
watch them
I
if they
love the
want to do
NFL
it.
drama, dude. I love it. I
All
mean,
right, what do you think? Like, we didn't ever talk about this. What do you think that Max Crosby, and what do you think that the Raiders think about that deal never happening? Is there ever going to like be a blow up with that situation again, or
like the
do you,
Ravens,
yeah, the Ravens? Do you think that he'll play like the rest of his career with the Raiders and
absolutely
be
not.
happy
The
with it?
Raiders are gonna trade Max Crosby within before the trade deadline this year. Book
You
it.
think so?
It's a lock, dude. I mean, how for both parties, right? Like the Raiders are in full rebuilding mode. They just got Fernando Mendoza with the number one overall pick. They are not trying
I mean,
to.
they've been rebuilding for the last 10 years, bro. They're trying to win. They're trying to win games. Like I mean, they're
They
still.
can't win with Mendoza. Look, I agree in premise in the sense that like when you have a rookie quarterback, you want to maximize that window, right? We've seen a lot of teams do it. Like Denver's trying to do it with Bo Nix right now. That was Minnesota's plan when they drafted JJ McCarthy. Was hey, we're not going to pay Sam Darnold all this money. We're going to draft a rookie quarterback on a rookie salary and max out the team. We saw New England do it or is doing it with Drake May right now. Washington did it a couple years ago with Jane Daniels, right?
Yep.
So that is Chicago's doing it with Caleb Williams. So teams that is a kind of a fundamental approach that teams can take. But Max Crosby, you can get. I mean, they got two first round picks off of Max Crosby from Baltimore.
I don't think they're
And
getting that deal again
they
though.
can't get that. But I think if you can get one first round pick and an impact starter for Max Crosby, I would make that trade.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, he's had health issues. I mean, I think that he's only on the declining side. Like he's still going to have a great next few years. Of
He's
course,
on
he's a
the
world class
he's on the
athlete.
back
But
nine as well, like of his
yeah,
prime. Yeah,
crazy stuff, man. I'm excited for this season though. It's going to
for
be
sure.
crazy.
Another great pod, Atlas. We'll be right back here next week, everyone. And yeah, can't wait for football to come back. I'm gonna have to pass some time watching the U.S. Open or some shit until football comes back. But can't wait.
I don't run it. I don't run it.
All right.